When you start selling products online, there's always a lot of questions. And the right thing to do when this happens is to find the most experienced and successful specialist you know in the area to give you some help. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Hi, my name's Roger, and I'm with the localization and translation team here at Hotmart. And in this episode of Hotmart Masters newscast, I'm going to tell you what I learned with Cris Urzua's class during the first edition of Hotmart Masters, our online, global, and free event. If you're not familiar with Cris Urzua, he's a digital producer in Mexico, a fantastic sales coach, founder of MAS Academy, and a specialist in maximizing sales. He's been an inspiration to a ton of digital producers around the world. The first thing I learned from Cris is that to have an online business, you need to invest your time, attention, and energy. But in the end, it will all pay off. Because when you have an online business and strive to do your best, you are creating a system that will give you freedom and that can generate income on a scalable and reoccurring way. But as Cris always says, you need to work hard and learn a lot and strive to be the best. That said, let's go to the first of the 3 tips that I separated from Chris's class. Number 1, you'll need to know that selling is inevitable. And what does that mean? Keep calm and I'll explain. Many people start to think that they'll sell over the internet and that, being online, they don't need to deal with customers as they can automate everything. However, this is a myth. According to Cris, a person who doesn't know how to sell won't be able to generate income online. Period. That's because of the decisive factor for a person to buy your product is in your sales structure. And what does that mean? What's a sales structure? It means having a well-designed offer that leads people to the final decision to purchase your product. But not so fast. The tip here is you don't need to be manipulative. Usually, when people talk about selling, the image of the wolf on Wall Street comes to mind. We think about someone who is just trying to take advantage of people to make a buck. And that's not what Cris is telling you to do. For him, what works is to sell honestly and from the heart. That is, you offer something that can really solve the problem of your buyer. You need to know that what you have can help them and be a win-win transaction. You need to show this with your energy, your pitch, your actions, that you want to add value to that person's life. In the end, it should be a no-brainer to buy from you. So that's what Cris means when he says selling is inevitable. But you need to understand that the way you go about selling to the world is what will make all the difference. Tip number 2 is that you have to ask yourself a question every day. This question is, what's the fastest way to make an impact and money? And why ask this question? If you ask yourself this question every day, you'll eventually come to the conclusion that what has a positive impact on people's lives is also what can make you money. And how can you have both of these things at the same time? Talking to and understanding people. Although your sales are being made behind a screen, you need to talk to people in a personalized way, understand their pain, and offer a product that really makes a difference in their lives. That's the only way that you'll reach one of the most important elements of being an entrepreneur, which is having customers. That said, now let's go on to the last tip, which is Chris's specialty. Tip number 3, design your offer before you go out trying to sell your product. Want to know how Cris designs his offers? I'll explain. He teaches the method that he uses, and it involves 3 key elements: the hook, story, and offer. I'll explain each one of them. The hook is basically a phrase or a pitch that catches the attention of your ideal customer. The story justifies the hook and little by little will set up your offer. And the offer is the moment when you present your product in a simple way. And why simple? Because when the explanation is confusing, it makes it difficult for people who want to close the deal. And I'll give you an example to make it, well, simpler. Let's say I'm an expert in botany. My hook could be, discover the secrets of growing healthy fruit trees indoors with America's leading botanist. In this example, I introduced the hook and already started to tell my story, who I am, one of America's leading botanists. Then I talk more about myself, where I studied, the courses I've taken, where I've lectured and worked, and show my background, and that I'm an authority on the topic of plants. Finally, I offer my digital product, which is a basic to advanced course for those who want to grow fruit trees indoors. So, to recap everything I learned from Cris, we have tip number 1, selling is inevitable. Tip number 2, ask yourself every day what is the most direct way to impact and make money. Tip number 3, design offers before you start selling. So what did you think about Chris's tips? Like I told you, this class was given in the first edition of Hotmart Masters, but don't worry if you couldn't participate, because the second edition of Hotmart Masters is almost here. From the 19th to the 23rd of 2020, you have the chance to discover all the trends and changes in entrepreneurship and digital education without paying anything for it. I left a link for you to subscribe in the description. You won't want to miss this, okay? There are already some big names headlining this event, and there are more that are going to be announced in the weeks to come. It was great to have you, and I'll see you at Hotmart Masters.